The time has come. You've blasted your way through countless minions, avoided several traps laid out in front of you. Only one obstacle remains. It's time for the boss battle. Boss battles are an extremely important part of a video game. It requires the player to think differently than just simply blasting their way through tons of throwaway enemies. Some battles can be downright adrenaline driven, while others require you to think outside of the box. Today I'll be taking a look at my favorite boss battles. So now for the rules. Only one game per franchise, only games I've played can be on this list, and where I'm going to include final bosses as well, consider this your spoiler warning. This is Crow of Murder 15's Top 10 Boss Battles.
Time for a little boss battle, suckers!
I can't even begin to count how many times this guy has been in a boss battle. I mean, yeah, he's the main enemy in Super Mario, but still, that's a lot of boss battles. The one I find the most memorable is the one from Super Mario World. In previous fights, he just fell to his doom, kind of like how he did in the lava pit from Mario 1 to a bottomless pit in Super Mario Bros. 3. In this case, however, Bowser's wised up and got himself a cool little clown copter, and the only way to damage him is by jumping on the Mecha Koopas he tosses out and tossing them back on top of his head.
Talk about a splitting headache.
Ugh, thanks, Billy.
Time for a little boss battle, suckers!
When you think about a boss in fighting games, chances are the first thing you do is cringe about how OP the sons of bitches are. Take Shao Kahn, for example, from the first time you saw him in Mortal Kombat 2. I'll admit, as the Mortal Kombat games went on, the bosses started to become a little easier, with the exception of Motaro in Mortal Kombat 3, but I digress. Your attacks do barely any damage to this guy, he constantly spams his special attacks, and he even taunts you while fighting.
You will die, mortal.
Man, this guy's a prick. But still fun and challenging nonetheless.
Is that your best?
Time for a little boss battle, suckers!
First-person type video games aren't really known for the best of boss fights. However, Portal is a huge exception with this with the battle with GLaDOS. Your main goal in this boss fight is to take her cores and throw them into an incinerator. The first one is kind of given to you as a, here's what you're supposed to do type situation. To get the rest of her cores off, you have to get GLaDOS to shoot herself with her own missiles by guiding them with your portal gun. The witty dialogue from GLaDOS makes this battle even more fun. Not to mention you also get to listen to Still Alive during the end credits once you beat her. A very nice reward indeed.
You're not smart, you're not a scientist, you're not a doctor, you're not even a full-time employee.
Time for a little boss battle, suckers!
In most Legend of Zelda games, the boss is normally defeated with your sword alongside the item you found in said dungeon. Stallard from Twilight Princess, though, takes this to a whole new level. The first part of the fight plays out like any standard boss fight in Zelda, but then the head of Stallard decides, nope, I'm not done with you yet! And you use the spinner to spiral up a tower and wall until you're close enough to knock some sense into this thing. It's one of the few times I've seen a Legend of Zelda boss not be so straightforward. Oh, and bonus points for the fact that Zant himself has a hand in making this creature come to life and try to kill you. Guy still gives me the creeps.
Time for a little boss battle, suckers!
Whether you call him Blue or Gary, he's still one of the biggest douchebags in video game history. I remember as a kid defeating Lance for the first time, thinking that I had just beaten the game, becoming the new Pokemon champion, until I was informed that a certain other trainer had received that title just a few minutes ago. What I really like about this boss battle is that it's not some big bad guy or someone of high importance. It's just you, your rival, and one last Pokemon battle to determine who the best is like no one ever was.
Hey, did I tell you about my super cool Rattata?
Mommy, is that you?
Time for a little boss battle, suckers!
Yes, I consider this a boss battle. Don't like it? Tough, my opinion. Not very often do you see a music-style game that has boss battles in it. Granted, the only one that I've actually played and can think of right now is Guitar Hero 3, but that's besides the point. The final battle of the game is with Lou the Devil to a rock rendition of The Devil Went Down to Georgia. This set up is amazing. Think about it. You're having a guitar battle with the devil himself for your soul. In what other game can you say that you fought the devil himself?
Eradicated.
Okay, bad example.
Time for a little boss battle, suckers!
Tinker Knight is probably the most interesting boss fight in Shovel Knight. When you first fight him, it's a joke. You can practically beat this guy taking no damage. That is until he summons his giant mecha. Two reasons why I put this so high on the list. One, it's a fake out for an even more intense fight. And two, look at the size of this thing. This is like steampunk heaven right here. Also, it gets bonus points for actually being a challenging battle. It took me at least a few times before I got his pattern down and finally defeated him. Now that I think about it, if this game had voiceovers, I wonder what Tinker Knight would sound like.
You're gonna be bagging my groceries, and I'm gonna be a top programmer.
Time for a little boss battle, suckers!
As most of you know, I'm a huge fan of the Mega Man X series, so picking a single Maverick from this game series for a favorite boss battle was tough. But I seem to remember a certain battle with a Maverick from Mega Man X4. Magma Dragoon. First off, I love this Maverick. He actually plays a big role in the storyline of Mega Man X4, being the one to let Sky Lagoon fall in the beginning of the game. Second, his moveset is a direct copy from Akuma from Street Fighter. And it's actually kind of sad seeing him after you defeated him. Some may argue that the Zero vs. Iris boss battle from this game deserves this spot, but there is one major reason why I picked this battle instead of that one.
What am I fighting for? Time for a little boss battle, suckers!
This is the perfect definition of what a strategic boss battle should be. Mr. Freeze is no pushover. Once you've used a certain attack style on him, it won't work again, and attacking him head on is practically suicide. You have to constantly rethink your strategy, think of new ways to take him down. He's not your average run-of-the-mill rush in and beat him up boss, let alone enemy. Mr. Freeze is regarded as one of the most intelligent villains in Batman, and it definitely shows in this boss fight. I'm just really glad they did him justice rather than do something like this.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
Time for a little boss battle, suckers!
So remember how at the beginning of this video I said there were two types of boss battles in my opinion? While the Mr. Freeze fight is a perfect example of a strategic boss fight, my number one pick is a great example of an adrenaline-filled boss fight. Perfect Chaos. Some might argue that this fight is boring and repetitive, and I say to them, I can see where you're coming from, but holy shit, I love this boss battle so much. For one, you're playing as Super Sonic. Not necessarily a new concept of the Sonic franchise, but it's the first time we get to see him in 3D. 2, Chaos has always been my second favorite Sonic enemy, Metal Sonic being my first. Seeing him grow into a gigantic Godzilla-like monster is amazing, and you're fighting him while listening to the theme of Sonic Adventure, Open Your Heart by Crush 40. Is it the greatest boss battle of all time? Probably not by a lot of other people's standards. But this is a boss battle that will always be the most memorable, most energetic, most fun I've ever had fighting a boss in a video game. And that's why Perfect Chaos from Sonic Adventure is my number one boss battle. I'm CorvMurder15. Now if you excuse me, I gotta go talk to Sega about how to fix Sonic Boom.
Sonic Boom!
Wrong Sonic Boom!